Welcome to Topic 1, Part 2. Here we're going to talk about neoplasia or cancer. Once again, you'll want to familiarize yourself with the learning objectives for each section and make sure you can answer them. Okay, if you have time, you might want to watch the cancer video. If you just click on the hyperlink there in the PowerPoint show, not in the screencast, that will take you to that video. And this figure from your book just shows you the incidence of new cases of various types of cancer. Number 1, cancer in males being prostate, and females being breast cancer. Okay, so let's talk about normal cell renewal and repair. So organs have two types of tissue, parenchymal tissue and stromal tissue. Parenchymal tissue, these are the specialized tissue that carries out the functions of the organs. So this includes muscle cells, epithelial cells, and neurons. Stroma is involved in support of the tissue, or support of the organ. And this includes connective tissue and blood vessels. Now, for normal cell renewal and tissue repair, there's two processes. Proliferation, which is cell division to increase the number of cells present, and this results in cell replacement. This is used when old cells die or additional cells are needed. The other step is differentiation, and this is when we have maturation of tissue stem cells into specialized cells. And this is where cells acquire the characteristics of the cells they're going to replace. Different tissues have different proliferative capacities. Labile tissues, these have stem cells that can continuously divide throughout their lifespan. So it includes epithelial tissues such as skin and bone marrow. Stable tissues stop dividing after puberty, but damage to them can stimulate mitosis to resume. So this includes cells of the liver, kidney, smooth muscle cells, and fibroblasts. Permanent tissues are incapable of dividing. They're too differentiated. And this includes neurons, skeletal muscle, and cardiac muscle. So once these cells are destroyed, they have to be replaced with scar tissue. So let's look at the cell cycle and cell cycle checkpoints. So there are 3 checkpoints at various stages in the cell cycle. At these checkpoints, the cell can assess whether conditions are favorable or not favorable for cell division. When the environment is not favorable, for instance, if a cell has damaged DNA, then a protein such as p53, which is a tumor suppressor gene or protein, can stop the cell cycle and cause the cell to die. Now, when these proteins that regulate the cell cycle are mutated or absent, then this can allow a cell to divide uncontrollably, and that can lead to cancer. So what is cancer? The simplest definition from the American Cancer Society is that cancer is a group of diseases characterized by uncontrolled growth and spread of abnormal cells. If that spread is not controlled, it can result in death. So what's a tumor? There's 2 types of tumors. A benign tumor is a non-cancerous. It doesn't spread, though it can eventually become malignant in some cases. Malignant or cancerous tumors have the potential to spread to other parts of the body. So let's look at benign tumors. So they contain very well differentiated cells. So these are cells that still look and act, function like they're normal tissue cells. They usually perform the normal function, for instance, secreting hormones. However, like benign endocrine tumors can lead to oversecretion of hormones, okay, because they function too much, if you will, because we have too many cells. They're usually encapsulated, and that kind of keeps them isolated. Also makes them easier to remove. They usually do not invade neighboring tissues. However, they can compress and damage nearby organs. It could be life-threatening, for instance, if you had a tumor in the brain. In terms of naming, benign tumors are named by adding the suffix -oma to the parenchymal tissue. So, for instance, lipoma is a benign tumor of adipose tissue. An adenoma is the term used for glandular tissues. Osteoma is bone tissue. However, of course, there's always exceptions in medicine, and we do have a malignant oma, and that's melanoma, which is a malignant skin cancer. Malignant tumors are composed of undifferentiated cells. These are cells that don't look like normal adult cells, and they don't function like these normal cells either. And another term used to describe it is anaplasia, or lack of differentiation. These cells divide rapidly, so the tumors grow very quickly. The cells mutate faster and can change type. The tumor doesn't have clear boundaries, it's not encapsulated, and it can invade neighboring tissues. It does not perform the functions of the organ. However, sometimes some tumors can secrete hormones associated with other tissues. For instance, some lung tumors might secrete a hormone associated with another tissue. Malignant tumors can metastasize or spread in the lymph and blood to distant organs. Malignant tumors are named by if they are epithelial tissue, you add the term carcinoma. If they're mesenchymal tissue, such as connective muscle or nervous tissue, you add the term sarcoma. If you look at table 7.1 in your book, you can see naming of various different types of malignant tumors. Okay, so let's compare benign versus malignant. So benign are slower growing, progressive growth. Malignant are really rapidly growing. Benign tumors are well defined and they have a tissue capsule. Malignant tumors are not encapsulated. They both have uncontrolled cell division. Benign tumors cells are well differentiated. These cells look like the tissue of origin and they function like the tissue of origin. Malignant cells, or cells of malignant tumors, are undifferentiated. They do not look like the tissue of origin, and they do not function like the tissue of origin. Benign tumors do not metastasize or invade nearby tissues, but malignant tumors can spread by invasion or metastasis. Benign tumors, death is unlikely, only occurs if a location such as a brain tumor or size becomes a problem. Malignant tumors tend to kill regardless of the location because they can spread. Okay, test your knowledge. So when a well-differentiated cell mutates, is it more or less likely to become a malignant tumor? Okay, think about that.